Welcome back to the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. Today we're out here at the sawmill again. This time we're kind of doing some modifications, so we're going to work on getting the laser put on. So we already did one difference here with this bracket, and we're going to try to get it put on here, so it'll be pretty close in line with the blade. So I went ahead and took the blade off, and what we're going to actually do is put this fair-sized piece of poplar on, run it without the blade on, but run the debarker along, which will put a groove in the log, and then we'll be able to not change the height, come right back, and in theory that will be right where the blade should hit, so we can then get the laser mounted, get it wired up, and then have that groove in the log that will be on the mill, have that to line the laser up with. So that's kind of the idea. We have a little bit to do to get this done yet, so we're going to drill another hole in it just for stabilization. So with just the one point of contact it can rotate, so we'll probably try to get another one and get it mounted there.
I'm guessing it's going to be entertaining to get the
Here we're utilizing the debarker to cut a line along the log. We've taken the blade off for this process, like I mentioned, so this will create a notch where the blade will go though, because we did have the debarker lined up. So this will kind of give us a physical line on the log that we can line the laser up to. So we have a little bit of adjustability up and down, and then also by rotating the laser to get everything lined up. So you can see it's off just a little bit, so we can then start working on getting it lined up so that it is as accurate as possible. So it's a 3-volt laser, so just have a couple of AA batteries taped together. Each one's about 1.5, so you get your 3 volts there. So just have that tagged on so that we can get this. So we cut the notch in with the debarker, which is where the blade should be. So have that across, have it pretty equal distance. Now we just need to move the whole thing up. This end is a little bit more difficult to see, but it's still visible. Pretty much in the middle of it here, and then you're low down here.
like I want to be just, I think, on the high side of this and the low side of that, and then I'll be able to turn the laser a little bit, right?
Yeah, which I'd say that's where you're kind of at right now. your high there and low here by about the same amount.
Like changing it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Actually, that's not gonna.
Because this is coming up. Which actually, now you're down and up. And so we've gotten the laser lined up, so I'm putting the blade on. So basically you just kind of get it around the wheel, and if you loosen it up past 0 so that it brings everything a little bit closer together, it helps get everything on. More attention, or less attention, please. Yep. And once the blade's on, we like to spin it by hand just a little bit, just to make sure it kind of tracks where it's supposed to. And make sure that it's hitting all the bearings correctly. And the guides. Is yours walked way back?
It's walked back even.
With the keys?
Yep.
What's about mine is then? So I guess that's where that roller's hitting. So here you can see that there's a little bit of variation with the laser just because it's kind of bouncing from the machine running. Again, we're looking at ways to stabilize that a little bit more, but the laser's more supposed to just give you a general idea and not be an exact measurement of where things are going to be. So we'll look at how we can stabilize that, but it definitely helps having a general idea of where the saw will be going. Here, because we have it hooked to the AA batteries, it's just on this entire run. Once we get it wired in, we'll have a switch where we can turn it on and off to utilize it just when we need it. So this poplar is just working on getting into a camp. It'll be construction wood for the grill pavilion that we're going to build. So here you can see that's kind of where the laser is useful, is whenever it throws a line along the log and you need to hit a specific low spot, you can kind of put that on there and see where that's going to be, help eliminate some waste. Here we're doing some 4x4s, so we cut a 4x section out, and we'll be able to get 2 to 3 4x4s out of that one section. So we went ahead and cut that, flipped it, and we'll get our complete camp. Again, just putting all the waste that will turn into firewood off on the tractor. Using the simple set to go down to 4 inches. Then here we're just checking the log before we cut it to make sure that it makes more sense to cut it this way than the other way. We don't need to rotate it to get the most out of it. And for the way the log's oriented, this way works best, so go ahead and power up the saw and run it through. And these cuts here, we're working on getting some 2x, so we go through and run through and get all of those 2x cut. So we want 2x4, so we clean everything off. The one on the bottom is always an odd size one, and then all these we stand up so we can cut them in the 2x4s. So we did the 2 inches and we'll cut them by 4 now. Readjust our clamps so we don't get into them. And then we have the one 4x4 left. We're going to make into a 4x4, so we get that cut. And so the laser ended up working out fairly well. From that tree we got these 2 boards that we're probably cutting the 2x4s, so they still have live edge on both sides. So typically you can run the chalk line, get a straight line, and just run the circular saw down one side. So then over here we have a couple of 2x8, 10. I don't remember exactly what the total length is. And I have some 4x4s and then a whole bunch of 2x4s we got out of it. So got quite a bit out of this tree. Over on the tractors with scrap. So I'm getting cleaned up now. Test with the laser went well, so we can work on getting the wire and everything run to it. So it's a switch. Right now we just use a couple of AA batteries to power it, and then we can work on getting the switch put in the control box here, which will go right here. Thank you for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. We'll catch you next time.